drop in if whoever else comes in, but I am Heather from Easy Street Property. I run the rehab field ops department here for Matt at Easy Street. And some of my duties include, but are not limited to, field ops every day, which is running different in-house crews that are hourly, and also subcontractors who bid our work, and some of those rehabs and turnovers. So I'm responsible for keeping those crews going, make sure that they get the most out of their entire day, and that they have, anything that they need to keep everything moving in the day so that they can finish some of their projects. My job requires me to be in the field most of the day, and out at those rehabs. So typically my guys right now they're starting at 7, but if they start at 6, I try to be there with them, make sure everybody is off and going. So today we're going to talk about the daily project management routines. I don't think it's going to take that long. So what I was thinking is if you have any questions or anything else that comes up, maybe on the field ops side, then I might be able to answer some of those for you if there's something different, on the field ops that you'd like to hear about. So I'll kind of give you an idea of what my morning starts out as, what I need to do to kind of get everything organized. So in the morning, I have a notepad, the yellow notepad that goes with me everywhere. And I write on that all of my projects, all of my, everything I have at rehabs and turnovers both are in that book. And I have descriptions, notes, the contractors that's working there, things I need to remember, a window that we're having trouble finding, down to no power, whatever it be. I look up and there's no gutters one day. I'm going to write that down. So I have it with my book. And so I'm going to write out my routine in the morning. I'm going to start out what properties I need to be at, which anything that a guy's working in, I want to be in that daily. So write out those properties, write out some of the problems that I had, some of the things that I want to accomplish while I'm there. If I wanted to talk to him, if I needed to check and make sure I had that third additional meter for a gas, if I wanted to check and make sure that the materials had been delivered that the contractor didn't need the day before, or we're talking about some drywall that may need to be done. He may have a question about something, how I want it done. So I'm gonna write everything out, have all my questions, and then I'm going to plan my route for the day. So I'm going to put all of those into, now I do my projects every day now, so I'm in the field all day, so I don't really need the route finder anymore. But when you have a lot of properties, there's different apps that you can use that will make the route for you better, so you're more time efficient. You save gas, money, time, everything that way by staying on the route. Right now, I pick a city that I have the most guys in, and then I rotate through that city, through my list, meeting everybody, going over property, the problems that we talked about, anything, the questions that I had written down, or things I wanted to go over, anything they have problems with that day, questions they may have had for me. And then I move on to the next one. So I try to keep that per city. And then use the route finder in the city and move me around. And then we work in the Quad Cities. So there's about 5 or 6 surrounding little towns that we have properties in. So some are Iowa, some are Illinois. So you don't want to be going back and forth over that bridge all day and in the traffic. So you want to make definitely the most of your time. Like I said, I'm going to use that route finder to do it. I'm going to go city by city. I'm going to, during the day, I have city inspections. So an inspector may want to look for cover at a property. I always like to be there because he doesn't give a lot of description when he's there and he fails us for something, or he wants a correction of some sort. So if I know that I have a property in Illinois that's at 1 o'clock on Rock Island, I want to try to schedule my day accordingly to make sure that I'm seeing my contractors, anybody that I told I was coming out, anybody that's reached out to me and said, hey, Heather, I need to talk to you about the cabinet layout here. I'm going to do that in the afternoon, around that 1 o'clock time when I'd be meeting the inspector. So now there's a lot of times, sometimes I've been in here where I have to bounce back and forth. You can't avoid those. Sometimes they're going to come up. There's problems, especially when you're working at in-house crews and you want to keep those guys going. Something comes up. They have a question. They're stumped on some stairs. They're, having some issue. You're going to need to pop over there. So, you're going to do your best to stay on that route, but it's not always going to happen. So some of my routines, I can't always get into the properties. There's one of me and lots of different crews and a lot of different rehabs. So how I handle that is sometimes I will go to a property and not necessarily go in, but maybe sit outside and make some phone calls. These are crews that are, managing day to day on their own. It's like a checkup. If I can't go in, I do some phone calls there, or I may slow roll the property. So they see that I'm still checking in, but I'm not necessarily taking the 15 minutes that I'm going to need to go inside because I don't always have that. So that's one of the kind of routines that I've used. Another one I found is to try to prepare for a few days ahead of time. So I know that I'm going to need materials. I have this big project that I'm trying to fill and I need it done by, Friday, Wednesday. The guys are going to be there to do something. I need to make sure that I've prepped myself and that the guys have the materials that they need. Everybody's prepared. So there's no wasted time. I found like the hardest thing about project management and having those in-house guys is downtime. And it's really a struggle to keep them going constantly. It's one of the largest pet peeves that I have personally for a group of guys, which, I run 14 or 15 different every day, is when they're sitting around and doing nothing. And I pull up to a house and they've been sitting there for 2 hours and they haven't done anything because their trim didn't show up and they don't know what to do next. I don't want that to happen. First of all, you guys, you don't want guys that are just going to sit around and do that anyways. Those are not the kind of guys that you want because you don't want to have to look over their shoulder. But I do want to get ahead of some of those things, and, order materials ahead. And if you're walking the property every day, like you're trying to do anyways, a lot of things can be avoided by just slowly going around. When I walk into a property, one of the first things that I do, I find my contractor, my main contractor. I locate him. We talk for a second. As we're talking, we're walking around and I'm pointing out different things at the property that need fixed or that I'm questioning, asking where they're at in the process, when the trim's going down, what are my timelines, what's happening. And the entire time that I'm asking that, I'm walking into the property. So I'm on the first floor, and then I go upstairs and I walk the top floor. And then I walk outside. The whole time I'm kind of, shooting around with him a little bit. We're kind of laughing, but we're still working. He's answering questions. I'm finding out some of the problems that he has so that I can help him, whether it be materials, time, city issues, whatever it be. And so we walk that property. And then when we're done, I'll sit in the car after I've let him go and I will make some of the calls that he needs. So if I walked and I seen that gutters needed to be done, this would be the time that I was, emailing some of the people that I have in my Rolodex or my phone for gutter companies. And then I would be Googling, looking up new contractors all over the place, trying to find, somebody to come out and bid those gutters. So that's what I could be doing, when I'm sitting outside there. I could be emailing city officials, scheduling inspections. I could be just updating the property, all of my notes in there, I'd be doing while I'm sitting outside the property. Let's see, I'm trying to think of some of my other routines. I I definitely, even if I, like I said, if I can't make it to a rehab in a day and say I can't get there and I can at least roll through the alley while they're there, I'm gonna call that contractor. That's something I'm doing anyways every morning when I'm getting up. And I'm starting my day and I'm writing out my rehabs and what I'm going to do for the day and my questions and my problems. Um, that's the same time that I'm asking him if he has any problems. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Trying to think. So let's see. Do you guys have any questions yet of anything like happens in a normal day? I'm just trying to think of where you're setting yourself up a little ahead of time, a day or two, so you know what to expect. But again, if you're rehabbed, you know that once you open up a wall, you might not always know what's behind it. You might not always be prepared. A lot of things can come up to stop timelines, and you do your best to try to like prepare for that, but you don't always know what's going to come. Are you both running rehabs? Are you doing any of that yet?
I've done a couple of few, but don't have anything going on right now. I did have a question. You mentioned your rehab crews are up like 7 a.m. So do y'all make that mandatory, or is it kind of just the people that y'all pick out just naturally early risers?
Well, that's the people that come in at 7. Some crews choose to do that on their own, but a lot of those are my hourly in-house guys. So no, they don't get an option. I mean, we're going to start early and we're going to work 10 full hours. Recently with COVID and everything, we were letting, Matt was letting, kind of unlimited overtime kind of happen for a long time. And then things slowed down a little bit with everything. And so we've tried to cut out as much overtime as possible. So if I'm only running a 40-hour week, I find it most productive to work 4 10s. I find that because if you have guys that come in the morning, they take 15 or 20 minutes to unload their tools, shoot the shit, chit chat with everybody, get unloaded, get warm, get accustomed to however it be. And then, at lunchtime, they're leaving for a lunch. And then when you come back, you never just fully like get into it. You're kind of standing there a little tired and a little exhausted. And then at night, they're packing up their tools 15 minutes early, getting ready to leave. So if you think about that time, it's probably like an hour's worth of time a day of packing and unpacking and lunch and breaks. So I tried to eliminate that by just putting it into 4 10s. It's one less day we take a lunch, one less time they leave, one less time that they're packing and unpacking tools. So I feel like with running 15 of them, I've seen that I get more out of 4 10s.
Okay.
So and then in the summer, I like to let them start early. So they start about 6, and that's because it's hot, and nobody wants to work in the super. So they get off a little earlier. But in the summer, right now in the winter, we're going back to 7 because the sunlight's not really up, and a lot of these properties are new rehabs, so they don't all have electrical or electricity or water or things like that yet. So it's a little early to be, you can't see or anything. So
What time do you normally wake up for?
well, I get up at 5 because I found one thing I have to do really hard is I'm a female. So they don't have a lot of respect for me unless I'm doing the same things they're doing. So I try to be there with them. I try to be there sometimes, nipping at them at 6 or at 7, but they can't really say anything about it. I don't know how hard it is if I'm standing right next to them. So it's cold. I have my long underwear on today and like 15 layers. I got some new winter boots this weekend. Like it's cold and I'm not going to complain. I get in my truck and I complain the entire time, but I don't do it in front of them because they already think I'm a girl. So.
I can see you rolling out of bed cursing.
Yeah, yeah. It's already hard enough to deal with these guys all day. So yeah, you can let them decide. I just let them. The only advice I have from running guys is that the less times they come and go, the less amount of time you're wasting and you're paying for. It's just something that I've seen. So, um, and then again, we're pretty strict big time on attendance here. If you're an hourly guy, I'm really, I don't miss work for hardly anything. And I just expect the exact same for the guys. So especially these guys are usually paired up in 2 and 3s and at a house knocking that out, and say one guy leaves and he's really good at the trim and the other 2 guys are doing something else, it can really put it behind, half a day. If that one guy is gone, for example, today I didn't have a trim in the house that I needed. So the painter that was supposed to be there tomorrow and he was going to trim out all the paint or paint out all the trim, he can't do that now because it's not there. It just pushed an entire day, and it can kind of just really mess up deadlines. So um
How do you decide if someone's hourly or just project based?
well, a lot of guys will come to you and they're not going to want to work for you. A lot of bid work guys, your subcontractor guys, they don't want to be told what to do. They want to work at their own pace. They want to not be accountable so much, I guess, or required for attendance. They just kind of make their own hours. What I think is a lot of those are more like late afternoon to night guys, where a lot of them I think come in, after they wake up at whatever time in the morning, and then they work until later in the night. Some people are just wired that way and are okay with that. And but then their checks are done differently. They don't get one every Friday. They're getting one as their work's getting done. So if it takes them 3 weeks to finish something that should have took them one, they're not going to get that check for 3 weeks. But my hourly guys, they know how to do just as much, but they get a check every Friday, but I control everything they do. So every day I tell them where they're going to be the next day. I tell them exactly what I want done. I give them goals and expectations. I do that with the subcontractors, but you only have so much say because they're not actually you know, they're not working directly for you. And if they get frustrated enough, they'll just walk away. So but with hourly, the one thing you have there is that you provide a paycheck every single Friday. And there's a reason that those guys want to check every Friday. So um, uh, I I like the hourly guy. When I first started here, we didn't have in-house guys. We just did subcontractors. Um, and then so I've been here like a little over 3 years. And so when I first started here, we just did subs. And as I kind of went further in the company, I thought we should try to bring on master electrician, plumber, and HVAC. So we've done that, except we don't have an electrician yet, but we have HVAC and plumber. So they work for us and can pull permits through the city. So we can actually rehab through ourselves, and not have to sub anything out there. And then it was also nice because when contractors come and we pay them to do a property, and then a month later something happens and there's something wrong with the property, being able to get that contractor back is not always an option. So another benefit of having in-house guys when I decided to bring them on has been that if they do something and we don't like what they did or the work's not up to standard, they're ours and we get to send them back there and repair whatever it is in a timely fashion. So whether it be either a city inspection for gas lines or it be something simple like a door doesn't close on a house, I have all of those people that, I control their Monday through Friday, 10-hour days. So I'm just able to call them and say, okay, hey, your door didn't work. Pop over there really quick and fix what you did. So that's one of the things that I like about rehab, about the in-house and the hourly guys. One of the bad things about it is that you have to have the time to sit and manage these people all day long. And that's probably like the biggest chunk of my day is spent chasing, not even chasing, but chasing, prepping for the next few days, answering questions, um, there's just a million things that come up with them all day, making sure everybody's doing what they need to. Um, and then checking on them throughout the day, because the subcontractor, you can go out there once in a day and feel good that, they're working and they're getting something done. But when they're an hourly crew, you don't want to leave them out there and only check on them once a day, because, you
Just
know,
sitting at time.
yeah, it'd
Just
be,
sit on that clock.
yeah, they would love it. I always say they got like a hoot call for me. I think that they stand in the window and wait, and when I come, I think they go hoot hoot.
You like the police.
I think I am. To them, I'm the police. And I'm always like, I don't know how this front door always gets open for me when I'm walking up. It's like, don't open the door for me. You're supposed to be working. You're not supposed to see I'm here. You're supposed to be so into your work that you can't even tell. But I think they probably put GPS tracker on my truck, and they just wait for me to pull up. And they know I'm there. And then I know when I leave a property, they call the other crew and they'll tell them, and then I'll just get passed like telephone down. She's out. She's out. You got to put a little fear God into them, just a little bit. Like, and that's what I said. They don't have to be part of the team. You don't have to work here. You do not. But just have some respect for me, that I'm really super busy and I don't want to chase you. And if I find that you're messing up and you're taking advantage of the situation, then I'll just let you go right away. And we use T-sheets here for tracking hourly. So when they're clocked in, it actually comes up a GPS tracker is and their time card. And so you can see, I can click on a little map and it shows me right away where they went when they were clocked into that address for the time period they were clocked in. So if you see them all over the greater Quad Cities, then they weren't doing what they were supposed to do anyways. If you see them go down to Brady Street for 15 minutes, they were probably on a break or, finding a restroom. So for the most part, all of them know, and all these guys appreciate getting a check every Friday. So they don't really try to, get away with too much. Plus, I'm like Inspector Gadget, so I can find anything, and they're not really going to get past me anyway. So.
They probably got a nickname for you.
Oh, they do. We're trying to figure out what it is. We have a bunch of different ones for different guys on our crew. One guy, he's always got like little Debbie snacks, he loves those things, and he loves strawberry shortcakes, and we'll always see him. So nicknamed him Snacks. And another guy, he's a little guy, but he's an old guy. He's grouchy, so we call him Temper Tantrum Ted. Like, so as we're saying this, I'm like, I'm positive you guys have a nickname for me. They're like, oh no, we don't. Yeah, I guarantee you, I have a name. They definitely don't want to know what it is. So, so what other, like, so are you leasing, or are you just flipping, or what do you do?
I primarily wholesale. I flipped a house a couple of years ago, well, a year and a half ago. And I got full rentals. But the COVID and shake up and stuff, I'm looking just to scale my wholesaling company back on track, and spend either the back end this year or early next year, start picking up rentals. And so I think I'm probably gonna stay away from the flips.
Yeah.
For me, I just know my personality. I'm not very meticulous when it comes to things, and I've done some rehab and trying to, like you say, manage contractors and stuff like that. It's hard to do that when I'm not naturally a detail oriented person myself.
Yeah. I didn't know I was either, but you get into it.
But I do want to do rentals, and I'm going to rehab rentals. And just,
Yeah.
I probably, I do pick up some ones. I want to pick up the ones with, maybe not the super large project, maybe something 30 grand or under, for the rehab budget or so, and then wholesale everything else out, unless it's like a big apartment complex or something.
Yeah, I'm finding the most difficulty I have for some of the houses that we've purchased in the past. We're trying to get better at it, but whether Matt wants to wholesale it or he wants to, we've got a buyer for it. Anything with framing and foundation issues have they limit us so much on some of our rehabs. Like, the upstairs looks great and it's not that bad, but you go downstairs and you get into the floor joists or floor joists or retaining walls falling or caving in or something like that. It's just really, really terrible. So I'm getting a lot better at spotting that stuff, and hopefully we can get away from it completely. But that's my only suggestion, is stay away from framing and foundations.
Okay.
They're a bloody nightmare. And then the city right now, currently, they're requiring almost a structural evaluation on almost anything that comes up with. Anytime they have a question, if they walk in and the floor is just slightly, slope, they're like, oh, I want a structural evaluation. So then you got to get a guy to come out and then make any repairs that he's required. There's no debating him either. It's just that it is what it is with him. So that's my frustration of the week so far, and it's only the beginning. So it's some framing stuff today. So you got any other questions or anything that's new? I'm trying to think. I don't really have like a ton. I want to stick to a routine every day. Matt's got the 7 steps. I think I've talked to you about with the 7 steps before on here. You want to sit down, you want to write the properties out, you want to use your route finder, you want to, oh my gosh, I forgot my 7 steps. I need to bring them out again. I want to do that. And I try to start every single day with that. But when you have a lot of properties and you have a lot of things, that routine kind of gets mixed up. But if you stick to the basic stuff, the things that I'm learning, if every single time you walk into a house, walk the entire bottom floor, then the top, then the outside, because I have been to these properties every day for months and months and months. And then all of a sudden I'll look up and there's no gutters on the house. And it's just like, those little tiny details like you're talking about, they come up. So, you just have to walk it. Like, that's one of the things that I would stick to. See, not being able to, even if you can't get inside a property, make sure that you drive by really slowly so the contractor can see you and assume that you're going to come in and not want you to come in. So he keeps working really, really hard. That's my secret trick.
Hey, Heather.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm driving. I was on mute most of the time, but we flip about 5 properties a month. We like to stick to the ranch property, the single story ranch properties, 1940s to 1970s built. They're just easy rehabs.
Yeah.
It's the same materials, the same, we call our granite guys, they come measure and bam, $2,000, and granite's in and
done.
From like 2 phone calls, stuff like that. We
Right.
kind of use this, like we see a lot of that subway tile, which I hate. It reminds me of my old dorm room bathroom.
Yeah.
The nasty stuff that we did to that bathroom. But but people, I don't know. It's clean, it's cheap, so I'm cool with that. But anyways, so yeah, I have a number of questions.
Okay.
So we're targeting kind of like that, call it like that 120K price, sales price range. I think Matt said before, do you guys pay on Fridays or on Mondays?
Fridays.
Okay, because I think he was saying, like he was testing out paying people on Monday.
There may be certain, because my guys and myself are under one part of the company, and like leasing and things. So there may be another property or another like department that he started that with. Just on from my end, all I know is that we're still on Friday.
On Fridays.
Yeah.
I like the idea of paying on Mondays. One, because they're not going to go, spend all their money all weekend, getting sauced,
Right.
and then and then come back, like, and all of a sudden that it's, like they're mad at us because like we're, because they spent all their money or they gambled it away or something stupid like that, and then
they have to come back to work.
Yeah, they they don't want to come back to work, but then they start, because they spent all their money, they all of a sudden they have to double or triple, like the roof bid or something like that.
Right. Yes.
But I mean, it's like kids. They're just constantly testing and testing and testing. So you
Yeah,
kind of, it's
yeah.
almost like you got to pick your battles. Give them one here and there. But
I do like
um,
the Monday idea too, actually. That's a good idea. I have more guys miss I have a lot of guys miss Mondays just because they're, they got their check. I bet they would be a lot less
yeah,
apt to miss
if
on a
they're
Monday.
football fans, then
Yep.
they get, yeah. Yeah, I like that idea, but and they can turn in basically, it's like, okay, we meet on Fridays to review the scope,
Hmm.
of what was completed, and basically, but then it's like, like, hey man, we're not paying you for this because it's only halfway done.
Yeah.
But if you get it done tomorrow and you send me pictures, and I don't have to come here Monday and see that you basically bullshitted me,
Right.
then I'll get this in for this week.
Hmm.
Something, so it gives them a couple days to get stuff done actually. But
Right.
but you don't want to be you don't want that to be,
And the
set the
regular.
tone that,
Yeah, my
because
accountant lady would
then
kill me if I
basically they'll
tried to
be,
give her that.
yeah, because they'll be sitting there and basically working until
Yeah. Yeah, they'll wait till
like
the last minute where you
yeah,
couldn't
like
do anything with, it's great if
yeah,
they
and
finish
all of a
work,
sudden
but if
it,
they finish something, you can't call in an inspection for cover or something because they finished it on a Sunday. It's not
yeah.
really good for you. So
But let's see what other. So I mean, most of the rehabs we do are pretty easy. I mean, some of them literally they're like 8 to 12K, just little punch lists. Like they're already in good shape. We just maybe upgrade the kitchen, the bathroom, and the curb appeal. Make
mhm,
sure the mechanicals and plumbing and stuff are working. But just quick, easy cosmetics. We open up walls and stuff like that. But I mean, how many? So our average rehab say is 25K.
okay.
How many rehabs do you think, one rehab manager should be handling at a time?
Well, I mean, I guess that's hard to say. Okay, so it sounds like yours are a lot different than mine. Um,
Yeah.
Almost
I've
every
seen the ones you guys do.
yeah.
We have some of those older homes,
Okay.
like the floors are always unlevel,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I mean, you've got to do all the new electrical,
All new
run all
mechanicals
new
across the
plumbing.
board. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, like all new
And
duct work,
yes.
and you open up the walls, especially those plaster walls with the lath. It's
Yeah.
just like, it just looks like there's dead bodies behind it. Um,
Sometimes there is.
inspection, man, inspections. I want to get into inspections in a little bit
I'm
because
I am
I
just
just
I'm on a bad moment with it right now. They're just becoming so hard. It's
I
almost
just don't
like
know what to expect.
the past.
If
It's just wretched.
Yeah,
Um
I don't know.
I
I'll
would
dig in. Yeah,
yeah,
I
we'll
guess.
get into that.
Let's see. What other
I think
questions did I have?
for the project manager, I would say if you have a good project manager
She's really good.
she's a woman, so I like that.
Yeah,
And she works very
yeah.
hard.
Oh
Um,
yeah. I had no hesitation. I mean, when we interviewed her, like we talked to her at like, it was like 8 at night on a Friday night. She's got 3 kids,
yeah,
and
yeah.
she still like made that. She's just been impressive every step of the way. Yeah,
Well,
we
when you
we
find a
absolutely
good
love her,
employee
and
for sure, that's amazing.
yeah, and
Um,
we pay her like a salary, but then we give her, kind of like a little bonus for every project finished.
oh,
If
okay.
she finished. So she's the last, we've been implementing everything, and I am signing up for that 6 week, 6 session, rehab thing with Matt.
Okay.
So I think I'm just going to have basically my ops guy and the rehab manager just come to my house, and I'll just put it up on my TV,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
we'll all watch the sessions, because there's a lot of times I don't understand why Matt does things, like says to do things the way he does, but we just go ahead and do it. And
yeah.
then if we stop doing it, then we realize real quick,
Why?
oh, that's why we do that. I get it now.
Yeah.
But so once we started really kind of like doing, kind of call it, like rehab systems version 2, where
Yeah.
we're implementing a lot of more from Matt's rehab manual. Um, I mean, we've been killing it. You know, we're getting these things listed in about 6 weeks.
That's amazing. Very
So
nice.
it's like, it's kind of like 4 weeks, you know, we want to do about 25% per week, you know, and that's kind of how we like, do you have KPIs that you track?
I do not. They do. I do not.
Okay. Because like, we're just trying to track, you know, like, did we get around 25% done? You
Hmm.
know, and if it's like, no, it's like, okay, why? You know, and then what can we do to, you know, so that doesn't kind of
Happen
become
again.
consistent, call it, you know, like,
Yeah.
um, but, um, what
Well,
was I
so
gonna
you're
say?
saying you're doing about 5 rehabs a month. Do you think she's
Yeah.
capable of doing the 5 then, since you're
Oh
not able
yeah,
to do the full weekend?
she thinks she can do like 15 to 20.
I think you
So
should
like
let her do it. I mean, I'm doing all of mine on my own.
Mhm,
Yeah, I think if you've got somebody that wants to do it and you want to keep your overhead low, and she's capable of it and you
mhm,
think so, what I find is less hands in the pot, the better. And
yep,
she's building relationships with these people. First of all, I don't know what your city inspection kind of deal is there, but one of the things I bring is I have a really good relationship with everybody at the city, which helps
that's
sometimes.
important.
And
We
then,
try and do it. We try and do our best, but they, you know, they can be gigantic shitheads.
oh, they yell at me on Monday and our friends on Tuesday. I
Yep,
get that. It happens, definitely, to all of us. But they also know that I've been here for a long time and that I'm going to get
yep,
something done with their issues, and that they know that, they're not going to be ignored if they come to me. So they like that. So that's helpful. And then also with your subs, if you do need, which you're saying you don't really need mechanicals that often, but if you do need them, or you
nah, we do almost every property.
and then if you do need, like, any subcontractors, for, do you sub everything out? Is that what you do?
Yeah, yeah,
So then again, she's building her relationships with those guys. And what I find is that is the best thing that's happened for me, because I'm like, oh my gosh, Dave, you've got to help me. Please, please.
yep,
Like, you can do those kinds of things. And those guys are going to be the kind of guys that are going to help you. She's going to build the relationships. If you've got 5 girls calling him, or 5 people, and say even have 3, and 3 people are calling him, your guy, asking him to do 3 different things, he's not going to know.
yeah.
If she's able to manage it, let her manage it.
She used to do, you know, I don't know, 150 like rental turns a year
Oh,
for like
wow.
a big, you know, a big fund or a big, you know, some
Hmm.
kind of, so, you know, so these are, you know, these are a little bit more, but we're using standard materials, you know, we're using the same
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
plumbers, electricians, you know, like it, you know, some crews can do the roofs, you know, but we've got like a Hispanic crew that, you know, I mean, man, I mean, they tear off and put that thing on and,
Yeah,
you know, 5, 6 hours, you
it's
know,
amazing.
these little ranch houses. Yeah, man, they're
Yeah.
hilarious. And they spell squares different every single time they give us the
Oh, geez,
materials list.
invoice
It's
for it.
hilarious. Like SCERS or something
Oh,
like that
geez.
was a recent one. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
oh.
awesome.
I recently had to take an interpreter with me, and he's somebody that works with us,
Geronimo.
but yeah, it was so
I
nice.
speak enough. I speak a little bit of Spanish, you know, not fluent, but I can usually say what I want to say, or
I
I'll
don't
just
even
use
think this
Google
guy knew what he
Translate
was saying,
so
but
we can, but it's funny. Um,
yeah, I would let her do it if you think she can. I mean, check back in, see where she's at. Give her 30 full days of doing all of them if she hasn't been doing that already, and then kind of give her a kind of 30
she's
days for me.
fantastic.
Would it really be
Yeah,
fair? Because
yours are too big. I, you know,
yeah, yeah, unfortunately I can't get anything done in 4 weeks, but
yeah.
for those ranch houses, I can't imagine it taking much longer than that to
Yeah.
finish. Yeah, like you said,
I
four,
mean,
six.
that's pretty tight. That's pretty tight, you know. But I mean, we get it. Like in 4 weeks, we want to kind of be like, okay, here's the final punch list. You know, let's knock this out, and then, you know, clean it, stage it, pictures, you know, list, boom, done.
Yeah, that's
You know,
fair.
so that it's, you know, I mean, but if we're doing that and then we're getting these, you know, pending within, say, a month,
Hmm.
you know, we're closing these out in under 4 months, you know,
Yeah,
so now we can turn the money 3 times a year.
yeah,
That's, I mean, that right there, you know, 4 month turns, you know, that's I mean, because we're averaging about 6 months. So I mean that 4 month average is, you know, we do that and then we add a little bit of volume to it.
Mhm.
It just doubled, you know, easily doubled, you know, our revenue. So yeah,
Well,
we've
it
got,
sounds
you know,
like
it's
be
a
able to
good
make
market.
yeah.
Indy's a great market. So let's see. You guys don't sell to homeowners. You guys sell just to basically your own buyers, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Investor buy. Okay.
Yes.
What kind of systems would you put in place to, while we have it listed and there's showings and stuff,
Mhm.
to just maintain it and make sure that, you know, because sometimes I go and it's like some agent, you know, basically tracked mud all over the floor
Yeah.
and it looks like crap. And like we have no idea.
Right. Well, you
You know,
should
we
be.
have
Your leasing agents need to tell you that, first of all. I know they're not going to. Ours don't. They don't tell us when they jam up the lockbox so the next person can't get in there. So you have to rush over there and fix it when they do.
yeah.
Um, I would say something that we've tried in the past. I'm not sure if leasing is still doing this, but we would pay the cleaner $20 to shoot back over there if a leasing agent reported that it was still dirty or something had happened. This
Okay.
rainstorm had happened. Give her 15, $20, shoot her. I don't know how big the area is that you're in, but you know, give them that a small amount and have them just go back over and focus on the things that you know are an issue, refreshing it. Another thing is
Especially before the weekend.
yeah, yeah, especially if you've got showings going on, that's a good idea. And you know, I don't know how long they're staying vacant, but you want to make sure you're changing your furnace filters in there. You could have maintenance stop over there maybe once every 30 days to change that furnace filter, but it's a good excuse just to get inside, make sure there's
Yep.
no leaking, the plumbing's still going okay. You know, checking those toilets and things around there. That's the first thing I always go to is the faucets and the toilet, just to see if any new leaks had started to happen, especially when it's vacant. You should
Yeah.
tell.
Ours is a little different, you know. You know, you guys sell to investors, so they just look at the numbers and, you know, and the pictures or whatever. I mean, they probably most of your buyers are probably out of state and probably don't even come look at the property, do they?
A lot of times, right?
Yeah. You know, ours, I
Actually,
mean, we're creating like a little experience for them. And it
oh,
starts literally as they're driving up the street. So if the neighbors' houses look like crap, I mean, we've literally prehabbed and like cut people's lawns and like, you know, fixed
oh,
gutters and
wow. Okay.
power wash like neighbors' houses because they're so ugly that it's like that's the first impression.
Yeah.
So the first thing they're thinking of is, my gosh, that house next door is disgusting.
Yeah.
That doesn't sell houses, you
Right.
know. We want them to just be like, oh my god, you know, like not even you know, like not even really looking at the neighbors, just like, oh my gosh, this looks awesome, I
Yeah.
can't wait to get inside. And then they open the door and it's like, oh my gosh, it's
Have
just
to
as
have
nice
it.
or even nicer inside. And just there's little stupid stuff like, you know, right now the leaves are falling. So, you know, you get leaves all over kind of like that, you know, it's kind of like a little bit annoying. So like we
Mhm.
try and keep it at least somewhat maintained. But anyways,
I like
so
the idea of giving them an experience. That's cool.
I mean, we try and get in their head, you know, and it's we're not making these for ourselves. So,
Hmm.
you know, like we're not using the you know materials and the stuff that we do. So we're you know we're trying to appeal to 100 and we're trying to give them something better than 120K. You know,
Yeah.
like it, you know, and we're able to do these higher end materials that you see in like two, three, $400,000 houses. We're able to find them for fairly cheap. Um, so, you know, we do a lot of, you know, vinyl plank flooring. We can get these engineered hardwoods for $1 a square foot
Oh,
and
wow.
they're nice. And I'd love to start, we did that on one property. I'd love to start doing that more because I think hardwoods is, you know, a step up, but, my team doesn't seem to, you know, they seem to like, you know, the vinyl plank
The
for some
vinyl,
reason.
yeah, I agree with the vinyl plank. We are even doing vinyl plank in the bedrooms or everything because the tenants just tear it up.
Yeah.
Super easy, super cheap. Almost any GC I have can lay that stuff down. I mean,
Yep.
with 30-minute training, wham
You
bam.
guys do the peel and stick?
Yep. Or no, the glue.
Glue down, that's what I meant.
Yep, glue
Yep,
down.
that's what I meant.
The hardest part is getting them to wait the 10 minutes for the glue to dry a little bit for them to put it down. That's the hard part of getting them, but it's
Yeah.
cheap and it's easy. And when I have to go back to owners after a tenant moves in, I have to replace 3 floors. A lot of times I don't even need to ask owner for approval because I'm still going under the deposit if I'm using an in-house guy and I'm using that cheap stuff, and it's not even so cheap. It's just cheaper. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I like it. But the only issue I have is on stairs. I've been painting a lot of stairs and then using the vinyl plank.
So before I get into inspections and start weeping,
yeah.
security. So we've been having a lot of theft lately. I mean, people literally, we had 2 deals where a day or 2 before closing, somebody literally just kicked in the back door and stole the appliances and mechanicals.
Yeah.
We literally had one where we were closing the next day.
Mm-hmm.
And in the morning, basically they wake up and find out, that the security alarm went off, and they literally just kicked in the back door.
Yeah.
And we've had, so recently we've been noticing, like we've had some, we had some stackables stolen. We had a little bit of staging stolen. They're getting in, but then the alarm goes off and then they just take whatever they can real quick and get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not breaking in. They're using the lockbox code. So we think it's an inside job.
Yeah.
And what we've noticed, we've been changing all the codes to new codes that we've never used before. And some of the lockboxes are left on the old codes. So people are trying to get in. They're basically just have a list of all the codes we've used before, and they're trying to get in, and we have no idea who it is.
Yeah.
So the security systems we have will actually take pictures. But I keep suggesting to my team, dude, get some deer cameras and aim them at the doors.
Yeah,
like
that's
on the
what we've
properties that we have listed. And it's like, why do we need those? Because we've got a camera inside. I was like, because we're not catching these guys.
Yeah.
And there's an opportunity to get pictures of these guys failing to basically get in.
Mm-hmm.
So if we notice that it's left on an old number or whatever, then we go grab that deer cam. And they may not even, like, the deer cam is basic, it's like a light or whatever, a motion detector light.
Right.
It's gonna kind of turn on. So
yeah, we've used the deer cams before. We have a ton of break-ins. I mean, sometimes when I come back from a holiday weekend, I might get 6 of them. It's just, it's hit or miss, but it is. We try to use the deer cam, but I have too many houses to put one up at every one of them. So
we want to do the ones where we actually put in new mechanicals and appliances.
Yeah. I'm even to the point where I need to put I just try to put extra precautions at the ones that have been hit 2 and 3 times. I mean, I'm on the police, they've got my phone number for 133 East Locust here in Davenport, because the guys go in and they just hang out and they just hang out. They're not trying to steal anything. They're just in there smoking, drinking. And the police will go run them out. Do you want to press charges? There's nothing for me to do. They haven't stolen anything. Nobody's going to get in trouble. Nothing happens. He just calls me again. Hey, I'm here. Oh, thanks for the heads up. They'll even secure the door at this part. These police officers that work the night shift over there, they're so nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
But they're putting the door back shut.
They know you guys are improving neighborhoods, and that you guys are part of the solution.
Yeah.
So
I've secured it. It's not, sometimes after I fire a contractor, sometimes I'll already know the guy that I'm about to fire is somebody that I should just change codes for. So I just change them. But other times I have no clue and who it is. And I can never find out if it's one of our old contractors that I made mad, or if it's just a random.
Or if it's just one of their laborers. Like we don't think it's any of our head guys. It's probably one of their junky laborers.
It is. And they've got if they have a crowbar, they just pop that sucker open, get in there. They don't really steal our furnaces. I'm gonna knock on wood here.
They've taken AC units that we had cages on.
Oh, yeah,
They've
yeah. We
basically
definitely have
been able to
AC.
get, they've been able to basically tear apart the cage. I mean, they're that dedicated.
Mostly
Or
I have
they need to get high that bad, apparently.
stove and fridges. They're always gone. And so what we've done to eliminate that is until a tenant, so we do like a 5-day walkthrough. Sometimes a 3-day walkthrough, just making sure that the property is ready for the tenant to come in. And at that point, then we'll order them from, now see if it's turnover, the appliances are going to be there. But if it's a rehab and they're brand new appliances, we're not going to put those in until like the day before. Because like you said, they're bound to get stolen.
Is there anything like that can like kind of descramble, lock boxes, and then you can actually get in? Like, is there any kind of like weird device or something that will?
Not that I know of.
Okay. I was kind of wondering that because I was just thinking these people are probably just driving around neighborhoods looking at Zillow, seeing, ooh, those are nice appliances.
Yeah. Or your dumpsters outside. The guys are always looking for dumpsters around here. We've got
they're just driving around looking for sale. We had some tatted up Hispanic guy walk into one of our properties and just start looking at all the materials. And like our contractor's like, can I help you?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. I just, I'm a part owner of this house. And he's like, no, you're not. He's like, one guy owns this house 100%.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All his house, all of the houses that, and he's not Hispanic and he doesn't even have tattoos. So, but,
yeah,
and we've had break-in attempts over there.
Yeah.
But, we're kind of putting, like, we're not delivering refrigerators until like close a lot of times. But a lot of times we'll put in the stoves and the dishwasher because it just looks better.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes it just, you can't, like, again, these are homeowners and they just, not many people have vision to really see it. So that's why we stage it and we like putting in appliances because it's like awesome that, it's like, again, that experience where like you're taking them on like a little roller coaster where they're imagining themselves cooking and hanging out and, their kids doing their homework at the, on the little, the bar, or they're somebody's in, watching the game, like, holiday, stuff like that. But anyway, all right. So now on to the weeping.
Okay.
Inspections. I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
These inspectors are a joke. They took a test. They're not contractors.
So you must be talking about rental inspectors and not building inspectors.
Home inspectors. Home,
Oh,
so when our buyers buy it,
Okay.
they do a home inspection.
Yep. Okay.
And they just brutalize stuff. I mean, these ranch properties, they're not bad. Everybody, I mean, there's literally inspectors in the city that are like, if you get that lady, you're done. She kills deals. We had a property fall through 3 times. We fixed the inspection items all 3 times. And then got a 4th inspection. They requested 25 items. I mean, it just was insane. Like how, so like now we did all those, we ended up agreeing to do 23 of them. And we did them all. And then the buyer was still upset, or whatever, and just didn't close.
Yeah.
So we had it inspected a 5th time. I mean, we put it back on the market and within 6 hours we had a full price offer. So
some owners are more particular than the other. Are you able to like send some of them like photos, once, so you'll have your inspection, you'll get your thing? Okay.
So we like there were a couple items like we had to put in a new garage door opener, and we needed an extension cord to extend like another 5 feet. And we didn't, we didn't have that in yet when they came, like, the buyer was like so pissed off they couldn't see the garage door opener open because we just didn't, we didn't put in that extension cord yet. So I'm telling, some of these buyers are crazy and just these inspection items. But so what we're doing now, what we're doing now is, we want them to, we don't want to raise any red flags, because anytime they see something's not done, then it's all of a sudden like, well, man, like what else is wrong with
What
this
else?
property? If these guys, if these guys can't even do a simple punch list, right?
Right.
So what we're doing is we print out basically the inspection addendum of the items that we agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally walk through, you do a video, we take pictures, but we do a video of pretty much crossing each item out. Okay, bam, this was done, and then we present that to the buy side, because we want to minimize re-inspections,
Right.
because inspector goes back out and they start finding more stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
And it's, so, but we want to look professional. So like what, how would you,
Well,
I mean, a few things. Like one, I almost want to purposefully leave items that we know that the inspector is going to pick apart, in like roofs. It's like, let's not do the roof. Let's just let that, because then the buyer will request that. It's a big ticket item, and then maybe they won't beat us up on all the small stuff.
mm-hmm.
We were planning on doing it anyways. So, same thing with like furnaces or AC units.
Mm-hmm.
Water heaters are cheap and easy. So we can put in a new water heater, but then, maybe we wait and then have them request a new furnace. And,
Well, yeah, but so you're meaning just you wait for it to get hit on the inspection list?
yeah, almost.
I think
Because I mean, I'm telling you, some of these inspections are just
yeah.
insane. The amount of stuff that they,
My only idea on if you leave it for the inspection is that they're going to see that 25 items goes to 50. That would
Yeah.
panic me a little bit more if I was a homeowner,
Yeah.
a potential homeowner. That's probably would be like one of the main reasons I would go ahead and do things ahead of time. But I understand. I feel the same way when it comes to like city inspectors.
It's like they've got a quota. They've got a quota. They've got to go in there and find 30 or 40 items.
Well,
So
I
it's
guess
kind of like I can leave some items that are kind of plain as day that they.
Yeah. I'm wondering why your inspector is going back so many times. I could say that Craig, our guy that does them a lot of times for us or for
the buyer. It's,
yeah,
I mean, it's
buyer.
from, yeah. So
they use a lot of
they
this
go back out
right?
there because they don't trust that we did it right.
And they
to
just
be honest,
accept pictures, huh?
Yeah. Well, some of these punch lists, it's like, they said everything was done, and then I'll go over and I was like, guys, does it look like there's, that like the gutters, we got the leaves out of the gutters.
Agreed. I do that every single day. We do punch lists on every turnover in rehab too. Like an in-house guy goes over, I don't run him. He's on his own set of rules, and I have to get up to these codes and meet all this stuff. And some days I want to strangle him. That's part of his job though, so
I'm not the attention to detail guy. So when I see that stuff, I just start seeing red.
Because then
I just start seeing red, and I just gotta leave and go to the gym immediately.
Yes. I have my come to Jesus, I like to call them. So Thursday I brought all of my guys together at 7 a.m. and I just shamed every one of them right there in front of every other one. Like, why do I, as a female, know more about building than you guys do? This is bullshit. It's how hard is it? We have a picture and a description on our punch list. It is so simple. A, B. And then why do I have to take my time to come back over there? If I want to do that, I might as well just stay there and do the work. I mean, there were 3 items on it. You got photos and a description. What is so impossible? And then they'll be like, well, I didn't know how to do it. Well, do you speak? I mean, do you speak? Say something. Don't just not do it and then tell me it's done. And that's where they get me, is they'll tell me it's done, but it's not. And they'll be like, well, I didn't know how to do the work. Well, I mean, I'm not there. I'm not holding your hand as you're making the repairs. You got to tell me what the heck is going on, and what good are you if I have to go to every property you are not, and because you can't communicate, then zero help to me. Zero help.
We've had some pretty ugly, escrows here recently where it just, like, the buy side had to go out multiple times, and they kept finding stuff that wasn't done, and my team kept saying it was
Embarrassing.
done. So like I literally went to the, like to the property. I was like, you guys are going to walk me through each one
Mhm.
of these items. And they're like, I've already gone through it 4 times. And
Yeah.
still there
Yeah.
were still like 3 or 4 items that weren't done. Like
I don't understand what
I
it
didn't I
is.
didn't have them walk me through it, but
Mhm.
the next, and again, it was one of those older properties. Those older properties get killed on
Yeah.
inspections. The ranch properties, not so much. So if we stick to the ranch properties, fine. But
Yeah.
anytime we do a duplex, gets destroyed, basements get destroyed, attics get destroyed, crawl spaces. I mean, if they don't find enough stuff, then they just start crawling around in the crawl space,
You
and
know
they get
what
back in there, and like it's like, oh my gosh, man,
what
you
we
gotta be
keep
kidding
getting
me.
hit with here is knob and tube.
Oh yeah,
Knob and tube.
yeah. I had one deal fall through because they said the inspector said that while the electrical works,
Knob and tube.
it's knob and tube, and some insurance providers won't insure it
Yep.
because of risk of fire.
Yeah. And you can't
And I'm
do
like, dude,
once you break into it, then I've got to
I was
redo it
like, you
all.
just terrified my buyer is basically running, like sprinting as fast as they can away from this house.
We just
Like
had
they
the
don't even
exact
want to
same thing.
ever,
We lost
like
a buyer over it too.
they bailed because of your opinion,
Yeah, and uneducated, not I wouldn't say uneducated, but I would
That's
say,
pretty close. I mean, they're not, they
yeah,
took a test. They took a
unnecessary.
test, and I get it. I get they're a necessary evil, but um I just want to,
My suggestion is, and listen, I am in the same boat that you are currently. It sounds like we are both dealing with the same issues. I mostly get embarrassed that I defend my guys to the fullest around here with anybody and everybody that would talk any smack to them or
yep,
about them. I'm like, I defend them, my team's great, blah, 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 blah. But if it's the third time and I sent you a punch list and they just sent it back to me again because it's not done, it makes me look like an ass,
yeah,
just
oh yeah,
like an ass. Like I have no control over my guys. Like we don't
hmm
know what we're doing. Like I don't have time to get to
it's
places. So those things are really just upset me and it makes me look bad. It makes our team look bad. And so I get really mad. So I do, then we have these talks. So I haven't had anybody tell me that any projects were done since Thursday in our meeting because I think they're all afraid to say go. Because I told them the next one is it's just gonna, what I'm gonna need to do, I'm gonna be honest with how I'm gonna handle on my side because this is just a very open wound for us also, is I'm gonna let the very next guy that doesn't do his punch list, I'm just gonna let him go. And I'm gonna let him go and I'm gonna let everybody know why I let him go, just to kind
hmm
of set the tone because I've asked so many times and it's just I'm like speaking to a brick wall. So I can be mad at the inspector. It's hard for me to debate things on a punch list. Like when we don't like something that came up on there, if we can't even do the simplest things that are on there.
yep,
So when you want to talk about the hole that you say was patched and somebody messed it up again since the last time, well, I can't even talk to him about that because there were 5 other items on the punch list and you left 4 of the other ones. So like, what am I going to bring this up so we can all look stupid? These are the things that I try to say to them. Like, I
yeah.
cannot defend you if you do not defend, yourself. Do your job,
Well,
do
the
good
next
quality.
one we do, it's like I want to go over with them, and I want them to create that video, right? Like we did that. We did that. There were actually a couple items that were missed. There was well, there was only like 8 items, and they were mostly they were pretty easy and simple on this other one. And but we never, like they never sent our contractor the inspection report that has like the pictures and like actually kind of explains these items. So he was sitting there fixing there was like one cinder block part of the foundation that had like a crack on the exterior,
Mm,
and he was doing like a bunch of foundation repairs inside.
yeah.
So they went over and they're like, hey, this wasn't done. And then there was like hail damage. It's actually a newer roof, but there was hail damage, and so they pulled that up, and we had a bunch of that we replaced some of the squares in certain areas, but they were kind of questioning questioning it. So we went back out and we did that video, and we, basically showed, and he kind of pointed to different areas of the roof that we fixed. And the
Mhm.
buyer's like, okay, cool, let's close.
Nice.
So like that actually worked. It made it, it made it look like we're professional. Like it's like we
Right.
went through kind of each item and basically showed that it was done. And like I don't even think they went back out.
That's good.
So that kind of worked. But like next time I'm gonna like send me the video of the basically the
Oh,
so it's all, there. It's not a perfect system, but I mean, are there any things that you recommend, I guess, kind of to work with these home inspectors better, make it,
Um,
make it
just
easier, just,
I would love to tell you that I could build a relationship with everybody, but this guy
yep.
is like, he is, they're there for them. They're not there for me. And
Mhm.
he is just black and white, and he's got these vision goggles on, and he can only see forward. And some people here will say, well, can you talk to him and see, and there's no talking to him. um he's a super nice guy. There's just no negotiating. So not really. I mean, sometimes I can debate like a vent rise on a water heater. I may be able to say to the owner, I know one of the things Matt has done in the past is give like a warranty on home inspection. So if there's something he doesn't want to replace, like that knob and tube, for example, he's like, okay, well, if there's an electrical issue in the next 5 years, I'll cover that. um
Mhm.
but I don't really have a shortcut on those things. That they don't work for us, like, and they're
Well, we're trying to leave out little packets similar to, I know Matt does like that kind of, he has like the timeline with the permits and the
Mhm.
scope of work on that, on those, you guys do those boards.
Right, right.
So it kind of, again, it's just like kind of with, just like kind of with the buyers, where we want to give them kind of like an experience.
Mhm.
They look at the property and there's an instant perception of the entire property just by looking at the, before they even go there, just by
Yeah,
looking at the outside picture. If
yeah.
that outside picture doesn't pop, then it just, they're not even going to look at the listing and the supporting pictures or anything like that. They're not even going to go to the property.
Right.
So we're kind of, again, we're trying to get into the conversation in the inspector's head, so it's like, man, these guys are good. They did a good job. This is going to be easy. These guys are professional, stuff
Mhm.
like that. So we try and kind of leave like, like here's the scope of work,
Here's
like here's the here's kind of what it looked like before, here's what it looks like now. So maybe we can wow them a little bit and be like, wow, this is quite a transformation. And we have like
Yeah,
the
that's a good idea.
like here's the the contractors licenses and stuff like that. And it's like, man, nobody else does this.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
a lot
pretty
of
cool. So
information.
it kind of like, we want, just try and have them to have the perception of like, like, ooh, I'm gonna have a field day and pick this apart, like, or man, I, didn't even get out of the car and I basically saw a ton of stuff.
Maybe you leave
And
him like a little plate of cookies and milk or something.
yeah, well, we've had like
A little
appraisers.
welcome gift or something when you walk in. Like,
Yeah,
make him a
when
little
we,
mug that says "Best Inspector Ever."
yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and
but
head out here, brother. Thank y'all for all the information.
Thank you.
yeah, I
You
good
have a
seeing you,
good
buddy.
afternoon. I'll see you on
Yeah,
my
have a
next
good
one.
one.
And,
All right.
and Ryan, you've been doing pretty great. Keep the good work. I see all your posts on Facebook too. So I
I
think
appreciate it, man. I got to do that. I got to do that every day. I haven't done it yet today. So Matt says, got to post something every day on Facebook and Instagram. So I got to get better at that. But I appreciate it, man. So,
all right, thank y'all.
Thank you.
yep. Have a
Bye.
good one. Um, yeah. We had an appraiser who he's like, I love this house. He's like, this is amazing. And he literally just sat there at like the, at the chair, in the chair, and did the appraisal report right there.
Oh
I
wow.
was like, he's like, I hope you don't mind. I was like,
No.
every time that I would love
I'll
it
make this chair
every
cushion for you.
if every appraiser came in
Gold
and
mine.
basically did the, did the,
Amazing.
We actually ended up getting beat up on that one. Not his fault.
Yeah.
I didn't realize in Indiana you can't count any below ground square footage, even if you have egress,
Egress window.
above like 7.5 feet, because we did egress. So what we did is, instead of having two small bedrooms upstairs, we made it into a giant master suite,
Okay.
walk-in closet, upstairs, and then we had two bedrooms and a bathroom downstairs. So it was a 3 bedroom, two bath.
Two bath. Okay.
Actually, we did a half bath upstairs too.
Oh, wow.
But
Okay.
but he had to appraise it as a 1 bedroom, 1.5 bath.
Oh, because of your
I
bedroom.
I didn't even know that. We literally, because we listed at 119.9, and we got a buyer at 122, but we had to end up selling it at 105.
Oh,
So
I had my own issue on Friday. I found out I was at an inspection and we're having issues with our building inspector. We go to have our final on a property and I'll get signed off on there after this long appraise or rehab that lasts forever. And then the rental inspector will come out so I can get my rental license, and he'll be like, "Oh, I don't like the framing here. I need these stairs corrected." It's like, why wasn't all that caught in the building?
yeah,
So we have a little bit of a discussion, had a meeting with the city. So they started coming out on Friday, meeting me and trying to do that rental inspection at the same time that they do a building inspection, the final. And that day I was then notified that now all of the Iowa properties, they are requiring to be hardwired smoke detectors. All new rehabs, they're going to change over to hardwired, which isn't always that big of a deal well, it is kind of, because it's a huge expense.
yeah,
And second, it's, I may be tearing into drywall and,
yeah,
stuff that I never had any intention of tearing into.
yeah.
So I went home a little
You're
bummed
doing all that.
about
You're
that.
doing that all at the end.
Yeah.
Yep. The FHA, some FHA appraisers are like inspectors too. So they'll do a home inspection, and then we'll get like a punch list from the FHA, and appraiser gives us like a punch list to do, and we can't sit there and negotiate with the buyer,
Wow.
with the buy side. It's like their loan's not going to go through if
Mhm.
these items aren't done.
Right.
So it's just, that's kind of a pain in the butt. But
Yeah.
again, I mean, getting good at these punch lists.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's
I hear I would love for I got frustrated, and I'm frustrated with my guys on not being able to do all of the items when I hand them photos and description. But the other thing is that I want them to be perfect. And even the city said to me when we sat down recently, it was like, "Well, why aren't you rehabbing them to get them rent ready?" And I said, "I thought I was the entire time. Like, I've been rehabbing these where it's passing a building final. And then a month later, a tenant will move in there, and now you're telling me it's not good enough for a tenant to live there. Well, what's the difference? Like,
yeah,
why is it okay to be finished and you say that's a finished product and a rehab's done, but then it's not good enough for a tenant to actually move in there? And then you want to
yeah,
charge me, then I've got $5,000 worth of repairs I'm supposed to go back out and make after I
yeah.
already had my floors in, my drywall done, cabinets in. Super frustrating. And again, like you said, this one of those things you can't do anything about. The home inspector, you can just
It's a pain. I mean, my team has done a really good job. I'm really, really, really pleased. I'm really pleased at like at how they've embraced like the Matt's rehab manual and the process. Like it's kind of it's it's clicked where it's like, or they've seen how well this stuff works. So
yeah,
they bought in. They bought into kind of doing it how Matt recommends. Even stuff. I mean, it's not like we've implemented every single thing in the rehab manual. Some of it's not really relevant for
mhm,
for our projects, but the main stuff we have implemented, and they've seen tremendous results, and they've seen how we can scale this, and now it's kind of clicked some of the stuff they didn't even understand, but now it's clicked why it makes sense to do that. So
yeah,
rehab has really become a strength. These inspections and these punch lists, that's an area where we've got a little bit of, I mean, that's always going to be difficult.
Yeah, it
it's just not,
changes, and
it's just
especially
not
every
easy.
house is different anyways, you're not
Absolutely.
rehabbing the
Yeah.
exact same house. That's with me. I've got 100-year-old houses, but I have 100-year-old different houses every time. No two are the same, so it makes it really hard
So
for my guys.
Kylena, yeah, our rehab manager, she created a list. She went back through like, say like the last 5 inspections and kind of created a list of common stuff.
Mhm.
So, and we're, like now it's like we're trying to do, not only kind of do that stuff before we list it, but we're trying to do it right at the beginning. Kind of, train the guys, hey, we're getting beat up on inspections, in these areas. I want to show you how to, basically while you're, just do it right, kind of,
Yeah,
do this stuff this way beforehand. And then it never even, it doesn't cost any more money. It's just, it's part of the, original scope.
yeah.
So,
There's no
and
complaining when they're used to doing it every time.
yep.
You
So,
know, there's no, well, I didn't know. We put smoke detectors up every single time we come into a house. We add handrails every single time we come into a house. There are just some
mhm,
things that never change, you know?
yep. Well, this was good. I appreciate it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate
no,
it. Was it
I
was
was
it just the two
excited.
of us on?
Well, now it is. Yeah. Yep. But, well,
I mean, but yeah, well, three of us, three of us.
no, I don't think so. Just the two. The other guy
Okay.
left a little bit ago too.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, like they're like me and him are the only two attendees.
Oh, no, there was another guy on here for a little bit, I believe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I imagine this will get a lot of replays.
Yeah, that's what I guess
'Cause
happens. I hate it because I hate watching. I always watch myself, but for the first 15 minutes, it's really hard and you never know what to say. But once a conversation happens, it gets a little
Yeah,
better. So,
yeah.
okay. Well, you have a
Well, I
great rest
appreciate
of
it.
your afternoon. Yeah. And thank you so
You
much.
too.
Good luck with
Thanks,
everything.
Heather.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.